Today we're going to discuss on OOPS concepts. So since Java is object-oriented programming, meaning whatever code you write within, whatever code you write within your Java, everything is object-oriented. You work with objects, you work with classes, you work with methods, constructors, variables. So by today's session, you'll get to know all this terminology. What is a class? What is a method? What is a constructor? What is a variable? And everything. So an object means a real world entity such as a pen, chair, table, computer, watch, etc. So you take anything. You take a water bottle, that's an object. You take your own glasses, it's an object. So similarly, when we're writing object-oriented programming, we work on these objects. Object-oriented programming is a methodology or a paradigm to design a program using classes and objects. So so this will simplify our whole development and maintenance. So we are going to discuss on object class, inheritance, polymorphism, abstraction, and encapsulation. So frequently in your interviews, you'll be getting questions. What are the OOPS concepts and how many OOPS concepts did you work on? So these are the four OOPS concepts: inheritance, polymorphism, abstraction, and encapsulation. So these are the four object-oriented programming concepts which Java will rely on and which we'll be using them during the coding process. So, so this is how the hierarchy is. The very first thing is the object. Group of objects will consist of a class, group of classes, inheritance, and and based on application, we are going to use inheritance or polymorphism or abstraction or encapsulation. So these four are called your OOPS concepts. So as we know that object, that's an entity which has a state and a behavior. It can be pen, table, keyboard, anything. If you take a class, collection of all these objects is called as a class. It is a logical entity. Just a minute. So class is called as a logical entity. So a collection of pen, collection of chair, collection of tables, collection of cars, collection of you yourself. So if you combine them everything and put it in a simple container, a simple entity, then that is called as a class. So we work on classes and other objects. So a class can be defined as a blueprint from which you can create individual object. So let's say you just take an animal. So we know that uh, a particular animal, it makes sound, it sleeps, it walks, and it does so many actions. So if you create an animal class, the methods means their actions. What is the animal going to do? So what is animal class going to do? You can just put as animal runs, animal eats, animal sleeps, animal makes a sound, this way. So whatever an entity is doing, its actions are called as methods. So let's say you have a cat, you have dog, you have cow, you have buffalo. Take these four animals. So cat is different from dog. Dog is different from a buffalo. Buffalo is different from cow. But the common similarity between them is these are animals. So we define a main class called as animal, and we then define subclasses: cat, dog, cow, and buffalo. So my animal class will consist of all the actions which normal animals do, making sounds, making sleep, like sleeping and eating. And what sound the cat should do will be written in the cat class. What sound the dog should do will be written in the dog class. Trying to get my point? The class and the behavior and their objects and their individual implementations. So when we're writing our real-time code, you'll get to know clearly. But this is how you define a class. It is called as a blueprint. So a blueprint of an animal can be sleeping, eating, and making sounds. With that blueprint, you're going to define your own actions for cat, dog, and a cow. And if you assign something to a variable, it consumes space in the heap space. But our class will does not consume any space. It doesn't consume any space. Okay. Uh, just a minute. So till now, whatever we had discussed, all these are basics. Okay, so I'm going to create a new package. So right click on the package, click on new, click on package, under Java, remove basics and type oops. That's it. So you can collapse this package, and from here you can create a new class. Again, right click, new class. Again, put it as a basic class. Click on finish. So once you create a new class, the very first line is the package declaration line, meaning this class is present in com.java.oops. So public means this class is accessible throughout the package, and we're defining that this basic is a class. And make sure that um, class name always starts with an uppercase. So if I try to create a class with a lowercase, let's say this one, here you'll get a warning. By convention, Java type names usually start with an uppercase letter. So whenever you're going to create a class, always create a class with the uppercase name. So now let's say this is my class. Now let me create two variables. In name, actually it should be string name, and int age. Now use the Eclipse key shortcut, that is Alt plus Shift plus S. If you type Alt Shift S, you'll get some pop-up. Take the constructor using fields option, select name and age, and click on generate. Control X, Control V to create a constructor. Now I'll tell you why did we do this. A constructor in Java is a special method that is used to initialize the objects. So here I didn't initialize my name, I didn't initialize the age. I just declared them. To declare something is just you just type the data type and give the variable name. If you want to initialize it, you need to put an is equal to symbol and give some name here. This is called as initialization. If I don't put anything, this is simply called as declaration. Okay, so if you want to initialize an object, you need something called as a constructor in Java. Now, when the constructor is called when the object of the class is created. It is used to set initial values to the object attributes. The rules. Constructor must have the same name as the class within which it is defined, while it is not necessary for the method in Java. So, I did not write this piece of code. I just simply typed Alt Shift S and I asked the Eclipse to generate a new constructor using the field. And I just clicked on generate. It generated for me. So by default, constructor name should be same as the class name. And this is the only special method which will have the name same as the class name. And what are the attributes? It is name and age. So public is called your access modifier, meaning like where this method should be visible, and basic is called your method name, and these are called your parameters. So access modifier, method name, and within the brackets you put something called as parameters, and this open and close braces, anything under this open and close braces forms your method body. So when I'm going to call this method, i'm 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 internally calling the method body. So now let's say i want to set I want to set the name and age. So, and as you all know, if I want to run my application as a Java application, I need to have something called as a main method. So I type main hit enter, sysouch name comma age. So now see, yesterday we discussed regarding the variables, right? A static variable and an instance variable. These two are called as instance variables because they are defined under the class. But I want to make use of this name and age within a static method. So if you want to use an instance variable within a static method, it will not allow you. Hence, we need to make the variable as static. Now this will allow you. That's now let's say I just run this. So the default value of string is always null and the default value of integer data type is 0. Hence I got a 0 here. This way. Because I didn't initialize my name and my age. Now if I want to initialize them, type basic. Basic means your class name. Create an object out of it. This is a syntax. So class object equal to use the new keyword. New is called as a keyword. Hence it is coming in bold. New basic, and here you pass the name and age. Let's say tetra puts age as 10 and this is an integer, so just simply put it as 10 and set this. Now what this will do is this is called as class name, this is called as the object name, and with new you are initializing the class. So if you see here, initialize the objects. For initializing objects, use something called as a constructor. So for initializing my class, I need this constructor. Now hold the control button and just click on basic here. You'll just hold the control button and hover on basic. You'll get something called as open declaration and open implementation. If you click on open implementation, it will directly go to this method. So when we're trying to create an object of a class, that means we are indirectly invoking the constructor. So what am I passing? I'm passing tetra and 10. So this tetra value will be assigned to name and 10 value will be assigned to age. That's it. Now this name will be assigned to name and this age will be assigned to age. That's it. If I type basic dot to string and remove this line, basic is an object. Now if you see here, previously because I didn't initialize my values, I got null and a 0. Now if I don't initialize my class, if I run the as Java application, I'm getting null and 0. Now I'm using a constructor to initialize my class. Hence, in place of name, tetra is going to assign to name, and in place of age, this 10 number is going to assign. Hence, I got tetra and 10 here. Did you understand the concept of constructor?
So I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
So in the line number 12, what is the purpose of super keyword? And 12, 13 and 14, there we mentioned this as a keyword,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this dot.
Yeah.
Before initializing the class,
Mm-hmm.
there is no this. After initializing the class, it pops up. I mean, Why? Because if the output needs to be generated, the parameters we took from the line number 13 to 14, with the help of for 13 to 14, the 17 to 20 generated, right? I mean 17 to generate 20, that constructed output got generated. So um, that one, can you please let me know what
I'll tell you.
exactly?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll tell you. So, to understand super concept, you need we are going to discuss this in inheritance. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
In inheritance, super keyword is used to call the attributes from a subclass to from your superclass to a subclass. So superclass and subclass concepts that I'm going to discuss on within the inheritance. Like after I discuss on constructor, the next thing is inheritance. You'll get to know here what is the use of super keyword.
So, but as per your statement for superclass and subclass, here the superclass and subclass both are same, both are having same parameters, right?
Yeah, yeah. Now currently our concept is not based on super or subclass. We are only discussing on constructor.
Okay.
Even if you remove this, nothing will happen.
Once can you generate an output?
You want me to generate an output? Yeah,
Yes. Yes.
you'll get the same output.
Okay. Okay.
So yeah, I'll tell you the reason why I used this keyword. If you want to use the instance variable within your method, you always need to call them by the this keyword. This dot something is called a like this is how you call a instance variable. If you see instance variable, they are in blue color, whereas a normal variable will be in green color.
Okay. Normal variable, you mean local variable, right?
Yeah, these are local variables because this scope is limited only to this method. This can't be used anywhere.
Yes. Yeah. Inside the method. Yeah. Got
Yes,
it.
instance variable means this scope is extended throughout the class. You can use it any. I used it here. I use it here also.
But on the instance variable, as we use static keyword, but
Mm-hmm.
that becomes both instance and static, right?
No,
Correct.
it is a static variable.
Yeah. It is okay, but not okay. Only
Static and
static.
static variable cannot be a local variable.
Yeah. Static variable cannot be local, but
Mm.
static can be instance or not.
Static can be instant, yes.
Yes. So inside the class method, uh,
But you cannot call this name as an instance variable because like if you
okay.
see a static keyword with a variable on a variable, you need to simply call it as a static variable itself. You cannot call it as a static and instant variable.
Then inside the line number 16, that constructor also, those parameters also belongs to static parameters only, right?
You mean this one, name and
Yes.
age?
Name and age,
Yeah,
yes.
yes.
Okay.
Since
Okay.
we already assigned it here, right? So
Yes.
these will be available throughout the class. So I need not use this keyword here. I
The,
can use this keyword here also, but if you see here, you cannot
mhm.
use it in a static context because my name is already static there.
Okay.
Got it?
Okay.
So this keyword is used to that is used to call your instance variables.
Can we use the static variable inside the method also as a local variable?
Ins-
Name.
you want me to use it here?
No, we already use it, right? The static variable name we used in the 12th line, this dot name. That is a static variable, right?
Yeah. So this can't be called as a method. I told you, right? Constructor is
Okay.
a special method
No,
that
no,
is used.
I understand. I
Mhm,
understand.
mhm.
What I mean to say is inside the method, that name belongs to local variable, right?
This one, right?
Yes,
Yes,
name.
correct. Yes, this is a local variable.
But the names, the same variable name we used in the static variable also name only.
That is a static variable. Yes.
Okay. Okay. I got it. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyone else having any doubts till here? So with this, we are just creating a class. We're creating some variables. We're creating a constructor, and we are creating the object out of the class. So basically, it's called the object. So if you see here, only the class name is in uppercase. Rest everything is in lowercase itself. So basic is an object that's in lowercase. System, that's a class. So it is in uppercase. Main method, the name of the method main is in lowercase. Arguments, it's in lowercase. So only your class name should be in uppercase when you're writing your source codes. Okay. So now what all we just discussed, those are in the rules. Constructors must have the same name as the class within which they are defined, while it's not necessary for the method in the Java. Constructors do not return any type, while methods have return type. So if you see this, void is called the return type of this method. Return type. Return type void means this method does not return anything. If I change the void to int, I'll get an error here stating that you need to add a return statement. So I need to pass something called return one. If I pass something right, then my method will accept. So you're defining your method, uh, what it should return. It should return void or int or something. So all methods will have a return type. But constructor is the only special method which does not have a return type. It only has an access modifier and a method name. And constructors are called only once at the time of object creation, while methods can be called any number of times. So I created an object here, basic, and I called my constructor here. And this is the only place where I'll call my basic constructor. And if I have any other methods, right, I can call multiple times. Let's say if I type abc dot bcd some method, take the sum method. I can call this method any number of times, and I can get my output any number of times. But constructor should be called only once at the time of object creation. Basic is called your object, and when you're creating the object, when you're going to create the object, you need to call the constructor once. So once you call the constructor, all the variables will be initialized. So name will be initialized to tetra and age will be initialized to 10. So once it is initialized, right, you can simply override the values like based on your requirement. And a constructor in Java cannot be abstract, cannot be final, cannot be static, or cannot be synchronized. So if I add a final keyword here, it will not allow me because constructor cannot be final, it cannot be abstract, it cannot be static. So whatever keyword you add it here, it will not allow you, it will throw an error. So constructor cannot be abstract, final, static, or synchronized. Simply put a public, give the method name same as the class name, pass the arguments, pass the parameters, and initialize them. That's it. This is called a constructor. And, next comes your inheritance. This is the first concept in your Java OOPS. So when one object acquires all the properties and behaviors of the parent object, it is called as inheritance. So just a minute. Yeah. So you like take an example of a parents. So whatever features your parents have, you'll be inheriting some of their features within you. So you as an object, you're acquiring some properties and some behaviors of your parent. That is called as your inheritance. So it provides code reusability, and it was also used to achieve runtime polymorphism. So polymorphism is also an OOPS concept. So using one OOPS concept, we are going to write one more OOPS concept. So using inheritance, we are going to write polymorphism also. So okay, inheritance, right? So let me create a new package. Oops dot inheritance. Inheritance. So tomorrow when you're going to do your live coding also, always focus on writing good package names. So whenever if anyone is reading your code, they should get to know, okay, if I open my oops concept, if I open my oops, I'm going to get 4 oops concepts. If I'm going to open my basics, I'm going to learn about this. So let's say now, since we discussed on let me create a class called as polygon. Okay, I have a simple polygon here, and I keep it as private int. Let me put let's say a polygon. Okay, polygon will have a height and a width. Private int width. Okay, and I write public void. Public means this method is accessible throughout my package. Void means this does not return any return type, and I'm going to set the values with int a comma int b, where height equal to a and width equal to b. So this is a this is a very simple class which we have written. What this is going to do is I have a height and I have width which are defined for my polygon. So whenever I'm going to call this polygon class, I'm going to call the class by passing a and b parameters. So if I pass a and b, those will be set to height and width. That's it. Now let me create another class called as rectangle. A and put some method called public void calculate area return. Now we know that how do we calculate the area of rectangle? That is length into breadth. So we know that. So and I know that my rectangle is a polygon. So we are going to use the inheritance concept. Inheritance concept. If a class has is a relationship. So if one class has is a relationship with another class, then you're going to use this inheritance concept. My rectangle is a polygon. My circle is a polygon. My triangle is a polygon. Let's say, let me create one more class called as triangle. So my triangle is a polygon. Here also I'll write the same area method. Okay, so since my polygon already has I'm defining my base class, saying that okay, and, each and every polygon should have a height and a width. So if this class is having an easy relationship with another class, then these two can be used in inheritance by using the extends keyword. extends extends. So this is also a reserved keyword, hence it is coming in bold, and I can type polygon. Rectangle extending polygon means rectangle is a polygon. That is the meaning. So now let's think that polygon is a parent and you as a rectangle, whatever polygon has, you will get all those properties. So my polygon has height and width, right? I can simply type oops, sorry, sir, my mistake. This should not be private, this should be protected. I'm going to discuss on the data types also.
That's what I have a question. So
Mhm.
you changed from private to protected. Why
Yeah.
can't we do it in public so that it can access throughout the inheritance package, right?
If you put it as public, then you have something called as encapsulation concept where each and every variable should be declared as private itself, because you shouldn't let any others to go and assign height and width values. If I put as public, right, my variables will be accessed throughout my project, and some other team member can come and access my variable. That shouldn't be the case.
Throughout a project or throughout a package, if
throughout
we
the throughout the project. Protected means throughout the package. This will be accessible throughout the package.
okay.
But if it is public, it will be accessible throughout the project itself. But if you put as private, it will be accessible only within the class.
But
So
if we extend the class,
mhm,
the entire polygon class will be inherited in that rectangle class, no?
entire
The
polygon class will be inherited only if you have a valid access modifier there.
okay.
If I put it as private, what my private keyword is telling, any variable declared as private should be accessed only within my class. That's it. Even though you extend the class or you inherit the class, it won't allow. That is the private definition.
So access modifiers concept will come in future classes.
It will come in. It will come in.
Okay, okay, okay. Yeah, continue.
So I think it will see. You see this private and protected.
Okay, yeah, got it.
So if it is protected, it will be within the package, only within the package. If it is public, it will be actually outside the package also. I don't want this case. I want only within the package. So I'm putting it as protected.
Okay, okay.
We'll discuss. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So now if I go to my rectangle class and if I type height into width, this should be double. So my rectangle class does not have a variable called as height and a width, but I'm able to access height and width values from the polygon class. This is called as inheritance. Inheriting the properties of your, now polygon is called a superclass and rectangle is called a subclass. Inheriting the properties from your superclass to your subclass with a easier relationship is called as inheritance. Similarly, let's write for triangle also. Let me write it as double. Return it would be math. Let me extend it. Is half height into breadth, right? By 2. Now let's create one main class. Just the polygon. Let me create a main method. And if I type, oh, just a minute. Now let's create an object of rectangle. If I want to calculate the rectangle area, let me take the object of rectangle equal to new rectangle. Now, since I don't have any constructor within my rectangle class, I'm getting a default constructor. So if I open this implementation, I'll come here because there's no constructor defined here. So by default, there will not be any constructor visible to us, but in the background, there's a default constructor which is running. That is this one. This one, rectangle equal new rectangle. So rectangle is the class. Starting with a lowercase rectangle, this rectangle is called the object, and you're using the new keyword to instantiate the class using this rectangle constructor. So if I type rectangle dot set values, so the set values is coming from polygon class, but I'm able to access this method from polygon into my rectangle because of inheritance. So let me set int a and b, 10 and 20. Now with these values, I can calculate the area, rectangle dot cal area. Simply use a sysout. Rectangle area. Run the application. You'll get this. So what are we doing? We created an object of rectangle and rectangle dot set values. If I just click on control here and open implementation, this is going to my polygon class. right? In my polygon class, I'm setting values A and B. Now these will be assigned to height and width. Now if I come back, use the alt and back arrow, it will come back. And if I'm going to calculate the rectangle.cal area, again click control and hover on cal area, click on open implementation, it will come here, height into width. Before calling the cal area, I assign my height value to 10 and width value to 20. So this is going to return height into width, and that is what I'm printing. Similar for triangle. Now if I now my whole control is only within my main method. I have control of all these three classes within a single method here. If I want to calculate the area of triangle, triangle uh, equal to new triangle, and I can set the values triangle dot set values as again 10, 20, sys out, SYSO, triangle area, triangle dot cal area. You'll get the output as 100. Tomorrow, if you have, if you get a circle, if you get a square, you get a trapezium, parallelogram, any shape, simply create an object out of it, set the values, calculate the area, and every method will have um, its own area calculation. But this will not change. This is your base template. So in the very first slide, we discussed that the class is a blueprint for creating objects, right? So this is the blueprint. A simple polygon will have a height and a width, and we're going to set the values. So with this blueprint, I'm going to create n number of shapes. I can create rectangle, triangle, and everything, and based on inheritance. Any doubts still here?
So, based on polygon blueprint, rectangle and triangle classes, we have made a condition and we implemented these three classes in test polygon. That's what, right?
Yeah, test polygon is a class which has a main method. We know that Java, like if you want to run a Java class, you need to have a main method, right?
Okay.
So
Yeah.
instead of me going and creating main method here, or it's like if I put a main method here, right? Tomorrow,
Mhm.
if I put like if I create a square, I need to create a main method there in the square. So if I have multiple shapes, I need to create multiple main methods there. Instead of that, I created a separate class to only have the main method, where if I just on a single click, if I run this main method, all my classes will be triggered, rectangle and triangle.
But in the main method,
Hmm.
where did we extend our classes? Polygon, rectangle, and triangle.
You need not extend it on the main. Actually, extending is done on the class level, not on the method level. So if I want to extend something, I need to extend it on the class, because class is a class. If you say
Yes.
right, rectangle is a polygon. So rectangle is a class and polygon is a class. Class is a class. But here, I'm not worried about the functionality here. I'm just only executing the code. So what is the main method doing? If I want to calculate some area, I need to run the application as Java. Sorry, wait, just a minute. I need to run my application as Java application. So if I want to get some output, I need to provide some input. That input is provided by the main method. How? Now let's say I have a rectangle class. A rectangle class is already extending polygon. So I'll create an object of rectangle class, set the values to the rectangle class, and from there call the cal area. So my input is provided in the main method. My main method need not extend, like you cannot extend any class from the method itself, and this class need not extend any other class, because I don't have any functionality running here. I'm only calling my methods within the class. Getting it?
No.
Mm, okay. Wait. Now see, did you see this import statement here?
Yes.
So because my rectangle is in another package, and rectangle class is a public class, okay,
Yeah.
and my polygon is also public class, correct? My polygon is also public class. If I want to inherit my polygon class, okay, to rectangle, I imported it. I imported the polygon class from this package. From inheritance package, I imported to inheritance one.
Hmm.
Okay. Similarly, for test polygon, now I imported my rectangle class from inheritance one
Hmm.
to this class.
Okay.
I only imported that. I did not extend or I did not implement anything
Hmm.
because I want to calculate the area of rectangle. Hence, I only want the rectangle class. I need not extend any class here.
Okay.
This is just a testing class for us.
Okay.
Now, did you get it? Now,
Yeah.
since triangle is in the same package, we don't require any import statement here because triangle it's in the same package.
Okay. You mean inheritance package? It is an inheritance
It
package.
is an inheritance package. Suppose if I move the triangle from inheritance to inheritance one,
Hmm.
now you'll see one more import statement here.
Okay.
So as long as you're in the same package, you can use the class as it is. Why do you like? Why did I use only the rectangle class? Because I wanted to calculate the area of rectangle. I use the rectangle class.
Okay.
Tomorrow, if you want to calculate the area of square, simply just create a new class called as square and public double cal area return height. Because now I didn't extend my square with the polygon. I don't know what is height and what is width. So extend it to polygon. I'll get the import statement because my polygon is in different package, but it's a public class. So you'll simply return height into height. Now, if I go to test, if I want to calculate the area of square, take the square class, create an object, initialize the square class, set the values, square dot set values, put as 10 and 10. We can improvise the functionality like a square can take only one attribute because all the sides are equal. And if you want to calculate the area, square area, it would be square dot cal area. That's it. Simply run it as Java application. I'll get the square area. So don't take this class as a as a normal class. This class I just created for testing purpose. Like I need not open each and every class and run the main method there. That's why I created a simple class, and with this main method, I'll run all the shapes here with a single click,
Okay.
just for our ease of access. Is it clear now?
Yeah.
Cool. I'm going to move them back to inheritance. Delete the package. So this is your inheritance. Any dots still here, everyone?
So in the output, we got 100.0, 100.0, 200.0.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
Right.
because of double.
Because of double, yes. Double
Okay.
means it is 0.0. That is the default value.
Yeah.
So what are basic concepts which we have discussed in our previous sessions, everything will be implemented here. Like you'll see them applied here.
Okay.
Double default value is 0.0. So if the 0 has value, that value will be that value dot 0. If your area is something dot something, then this 0 will be filled up. Let's say 20.25 set values, put it as double. Double. This way. We have a decimal value, it will be populated with the decimal value, else you'll get a 0 default value.
Yeah.
Done. So the next one is, so it provides code reusability. So like we need not always declare the height and width of each and every class. I simply put it in a polygon class, and I'll simply reuse the polygon class. It provides code reusability, and it is used to achieve runtime polymorphism. Um, Abstraction. So since inheritance and polymorphism are linked together, let's discuss on polymorphism now, and then tomorrow we can discuss on abstraction and encapsulation. Okay. Um, let's say polymorphism. If one task is performed in a different ways, it is known as polymorphism. So dogs bark, cats mew, and each and every animal will make different sounds. But one animal making a sound is common. So making sound is called as task, and the types of sounds which they make is called as, those are called as different ways of making a sound. So animal making a sound, this is your task. Dog will bark, cat will mew. Dog is an animal, cat is an animal. Bark is a sound, mew is a sound. So same type of classes giving different outputs, giving different outputs. That is called as polymorphism. So let's discuss it directly with in the coding session itself. Okay, I have only 5 minutes. LYMORPHISM. Polymorphism. Class. Let me take it as central bank. Okay. So let me create one small class called as a central bank. Okay, my central bank will decide the rate of interest. Just a minute. Just 1 minute. So, so rate of rate of interest. Like I have a simple method, and my central bank will always, like, let's say it has zero. It has zero rate of interest. Let's say this is a government bank, that's why it doesn't put any interest on us. Now all the private banks, like let's say bank A, let's say bank A is a private bank. So, and we know that all banks should always comply with the rules of the central bank. So now bank A will extend all the functions, all the features of central bank. So bank A is a central bank. Okay, this is a relationship. Hence, we are using inheritance concept here. So let's say my bank A will have interest rate of instead of returning 0, I'll put something called as 10.8f. Because we are working on float now, I'm putting as f. This is a floating. Now let me create one more bank. Bank B. This will also extend the central bank. Let's say this has interest rate of 11. Let me create a bank C, which will extend the central bank and has interest rate of 12.6 something. So I have a central bank, which is a generous bank, which is returning a zero rate of interest. And whereas all the private banks which are extending the central bank, they have their own interest rates. Now to test the polymorphism, let's create an class called the test bank. Same as how we created a test polygon, I'm creating a test bank class. So to test our application, we need to have something called as a main method. So type main, control space, enter. Now see here, central bank CB equal to new bank A. Now, previously, how are we going to initialize the classes class object equal to new class, the same class. This is how we initialized it. But now we are going to initialize it in a different way. Class object equal to new bank A. I'm initializing it to a bank A class because bank A is already extending the features of central bank. Now, similarly, control Z C V CB1 CB2. I'm creating the object of bank A and bank C. Sysouch interest of bank A CB dot get rate of interest. Bank B, bank C. So this is CB1 and this is CB2. Now I'm creating the object of same class. CB is the object of central bank. CB1 is the object of central bank. CB2 is the object of central bank. So object of same type will provide different outputs. 10.8, 11.8 and 12.6. So if you take a look at our PPT, object of same class. So dog is an object of animal, cat is an object of animal. So objects of the same class are creating different sounds. This is called as polymorphism. One task being performed in different ways. The task which in our example is getting the rate of interest. But how to get the rate of interest from each bank? Simply initialize them, simply extend the central bank, and from there you just initialize the object. You'll get the output. This is called as polymorphism. Objects of the same class providing different outputs based on the rate of interest. It's based on your initialization. Any doubts in this?
No.
No? Clear? Everyone? Asha, Likit? You can put it in the chat window also.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so today we discussed on what is a class, what is an object, and how are we going to create constructors, and two OOPS concepts, that is inheritance and polymorphism. Tomorrow we're going to cover on abstraction and encapsulation, and also the access modifiers, when and where to use them. Yeah, I'm going to push this code to our Git repository. So make sure you just take a pull of the source code.
Yeah, sure.